Dark, starring John and Danny. This is Tricky Dick. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's John and Danny.
Starting talking when the curtains open right away, because this week I didn't get a reminder, which I don't need. Hey guys, how's it going tonight? Evan Valdyke from the Sepulture of Heroes blog and famed 40k meme share on the Boomer Town known as Facebook is coming here to look back at the last week in the Warhammer community with us. My name is John, and it's pretty grim after dark. See, Val, I kept that in too. My co-host today needs some introduction. He is the current rating best. And yes, chat, thank you. You need applause sounds as soon as the curtain opens because none of you cheer for me. My co-host tonight needs some introduction. He is the current reigning, defending best general of the Tau Tipping Tournament. It's Danny McDevitt. Please clap.
Please clap. Hey, John. Thanks for that introduction. It was stellar. I'm really excited to be here tonight.
Yeah, and I just like I let you know, Chad is actually saying the word cheer, which I'm assuming is how people would cheer over time.
Guys, all right, let's hold up for a second. John's head literally, physically cannot get any bigger than it already is. So if you clap for him, it's just going to make everything so much worse. He's already hard to fit into screen here.
No fault. Tyler can fix it in post. My head is fine. Danny, so much news from last week. What are you excited to talk about today?
Oh my, John, there's so much stuff going on. I mean, we had the data slate.
I was like, oh, we're building up. What did we have last week? Yeah, the data slate.
Yeah, that's right.
Danny, tonight we get to talk about the data slate. We get to talk about competitive onion selling. We dive into our comments section, and Evan's going to share some of his favorite creations from his blog. It's only 2 comments this week, ones that I felt really kind of encapsulated what we're about. Okay. Neither negative or positive, just kind of there. Let's waste no more time. Danny, go ahead and introduce this week's guest, who's going to help us go through the community.
All right, guys. You may know him from his blog, Sepulcher of Heroes. Or you may know him from his podcast, Allies of Inconvenience. He memes, he dreams, he wears an orange cream jersey. We have on tonight Evan Valdyke.
Yeah, ooh, yeah.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited that no one else heard the applause, but our producer is now giving us applause in our ear. Oh, they did? Oh, man. Look, we opened mic channels and everything for that. An audience of 1, therefore doubling our channel. Guys, Evan, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Tonight, we're going to start with one of your memes here because we have reports on another leak. This time, some Chaos Knight leaks are happening. And Evan, you posted this meme a while ago. Knights are like null oil. They make up for lack of skill. Evan, have you seen any of the Chaos Knight leaks or things that are coming up for that army?
I've seen the Warhammer community post, and I think that was enough. just, like it was a joke in our chat, our local chat, that knights will get transhuman. Like that'll never happen. And then, oh wait, knights get transhuman. That's cool.
To be fair, they do have to kill things first, and that's sometimes hard for a giant walking god machine. What do you personally want to see from the Chaos Knights army?
What I want to see from the Chaos Knights army, I guess for them to be pushed to be more aggressive in your face as opposed to Imperial. I hope Imperial's a little bit more defensive shooting. I want Chaos Knights to be charging up, punching things like Chaos should. You know, Dreadclaws eat things. I want Chaos Knights to do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Danny, for some specific reason, I'm not going to ask you what
Yeah,
you would
that's
like to
fair.
see from Chaos Knights. But I will share that the community is concerned with some of the news that's come out, and some have already written it off. But I did want to share this offer. This gentleman here said that the leaks depressed him so much he can't even motivate himself to paint his knights. Because they didn't have damage reduction. I'm going to make this open offer to you, the loyal viewing and listening audience of Grim After Dark. I will buy your Chaos Knights. If you hate them because of this leak, sell them to me. I'm going to give you like a really low price. You'll make the space. Absolutely sell me all your Chaos Knights for like pennies on the dollar. That's about the only fair offer that I can.
Yeah, John, you're very altruistic, and this guy also isn't totally making a snap reaction that he's seen obviously the whole book, so he knows, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I will buy his knights because I want to support snap reactions.
Yeah. Good job.
Free up. Yeah, it means they can free up space for your new Data Slate enhanced army. And guys, some armies received the Nerf Hammer, where others, like Custodes, received the Nerf Nuclear Bomb. And while many are happy about it, this guy was maybe happy for the wrong reasons here. As we find out, it says here, Custodes in the lore and pretty much 99.99999% of the books would never field an army light years from Terra to attack orcs. WTF, LOL, Custodes should be 300 points a model. It must, at most, 5 Custodes might show up somewhere to do a hit. How is 1 Custodes the cost of 10 Gourds? And when in canon, they would cost 100,000 times a Gourd's man to field. Ooh, that was a wordy smith there. Danny, what are your views on Custodes as a separate army?
The fuck are orcs with a C?
Well, a while ago, there was this old game called Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I don't know if you know about it.
I've never heard of it before. I totally don't know anything about it.
No one's really played it in a long time. And orcs there is spelled with a C.
And J.R.R. Tolkien's rolling over in his grave.
Man.
As you're talking.
Evan, so like Custodes were historically, like this guy's pointing out here, stationed on Earth. All they did was kind of like knit. They learned how to paint. They wrote poems. I'm not even joking. That's kind of what Custodes did. They worked out in the gym and wrote poetry. Were you happy of this change in the lore where they kind of went out from Terra and became like the 37th army GW's got for 40k?
I like them being available in the game. Other than the fact it leaves Grey Knights kind of in a place of what do we do now as an elite army? But no, the retcon in the fluff is fine to me. I have no problem with it. It's Warhammer 40k. It's made up future historical fiction. It can be whatever we want it to be.
Danny, what is the most erroneous change they've made to the history of 40k to you where you're just really upset about it? Or as upset as you can be at something?
Well, I'm really disappointed that the Emperor isn't the disembodied souls of 13 Turkish shamans.
Lies.
What's the story?
He is. If you kill him, he's the Star Child too.
Yeah.
Oh man, terrible. But yeah, so this guy obviously very unhappy that Custodes are an army unto themselves, and we have kind of a lot of old guard who are kind of safeguarding the history to make sure it never changes or improves, and we're reading the same book over and over and over again. Probably written by someone not great, because Ian Watson, Space Marine, the best book that they've ever written.
God.
I know I have it behind me somewhere here too. Next week's episode is just us reading select passages. That's awful. What another big change here is the Imperial Guard received a ton of buffs. Like whatever the opposite of a nuclear bomb is, Guard got
a ton. A ton is one.
They got like 2 or 3, right?
No, they got one thing.
So, well, Daddy, take us away. What are some of the changes that they made?
Guard units auto wound on 6s to hits.
Which you guys might not be able to see. Danny is seeing a meme here that says, "Run 2 giant knight war machines saying, run, they have las guns, save yourself." Because now las guns wound on 6s. So that's a hit.
I have a quibble with this meme. It's not to scale.
No, it isn't. The warlord
Why is the
should be
warlord
way
bigger
smaller than the.
Yeah. Did you make this?
No, this is not one of mine.
All
It
right.
was shared with me, and that was like my instant eye twitch. Was like the scale, the scale.
I'm glad we have the same
I'm a-
reaction. Thank you very
I'm
much,
a
Evan.
professional here.
Yeah, okay. I know.
pay
You know what?
attention to
And
detail.
my mistake for calling into question your integrity with memes. That's my bad. I'm sorry, man.
Oh man, but no, more buffs. As chat's pointing out, war gear upgrades for the squads are free now.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
small
All right. Fine. You got me.
Indirect
It's more
fire.
than one thing, John. It was two things, which is a million things.
3 things.
What's the
indirect
third thing?
fire is indirect fire is better in
No.
guard.
That's not a buff though. That's just they missed the nerf.
So is this going to be enough though, Evan, to kind of make them a top tier army? Because before guard were languishing. If there was a bottom of the pile for competitive 40k, Imperial Guard were kind of standing somewhere off to the side where they could just see it. Is this going to be enough to pull them up, do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I have a guard army, but it's unfortunately consists of I own 80 converted Death Riders, so that's I didn't get any bonuses. And,
Amazing.
but they'll be annoying, and I think they'll be the most annoying though to Marine players who won't be able to kill enough of them. Meanwhile, other people are just. I'm like, what's 10 guardsmen, right?
Just will. Yeah.
Danny, what's your take on this here? Is this enough to raise guard out of the ashes of the edition?
No.
Well,
I mean, like, look, it's going to take a little bit more than this. I think they're decent now. I don't think they're good. Oh, man, did you see that? I moved space and time behind me. It was very impressive.
You were
model
communing
coming
with
right into you
12
next to me.
12 shamans to figure out your take on guard.
We had to coalesce and become one being of pure energy.
And that
We
beam.
determined 6s to hit auto wounding was not quite enough.
So I'm sure Chaos Knights will get a similar power in a week and a half.
I'm sure, yeah. No, that's true. Wait, no, actually.
We can the important thing to remember is that regardless of what happened, we can always be reminded of this next person's comment as being true. Well, nothing happened to the top 3 armies.
Yeah, clearly.
Guys, I'm going to start here with Danny, moving on to you afterwards, Evan. What were the top 3 armies post data slate now? Because before you would say kind of the top 3 were like Harlequins, Custodes, maybe Eldari in that mix there too.
Interesting.
Or what would you put as pre-data slate top 3?
Oh, yeah. So clearly this is still Drukhari, Death Guard, and White Scars meta. So we're totally good, guys.
Yeah, Death Guard won a GT. Good job, Aiden. In the UK here. But now, sort of, Evan, post-data slate, what do you see as being kind of the top 3 armies in the meta?
Like you said, nothing happened to him, right? We're gonna see Custode rolling over everyone, right? No, it's definitely going to be going back to some Death Guard, I think, and stuff. But I think Craft Worlds will still be up there. Maybe not just Harlequins, but I think everybody was ignoring what Craft Worlds could do to play with Harlequins, and now they're going to go back and look at what Craft Worlds can actually do. And then probably Drukhari.
I think the best thing I saw from it was like some people saying like kind of Harlequins were like a little smoke bomb for Craft World. So like, hey, look how overpowered this is. Nerf this. Yeah. Oh, thank God you fixed our entire book. So back to the Eldari here. Let's kind of move on.
For real, though.
Because Eldari is super good. And then the feedback I'm seeing from people about the Harlequin nerfs and like the huge increase in price for the Void Weavers is a very depressing. Guess I'll just take 6. So, Danny, Tyranids, you're saying they're going to be top of the meta here for a little bit?
Yeah. Well, until the next balance patch, like I don't see how you unseat them. They're ridiculous. And Eldari, as Evan mentioned, I think is a great maybe counterplay, but I don't think they can hold up. And then meanwhile, like everyone else is like in B tier, maybe with some stuff in C tier, like Chaos Space Marines, maybe Guard or something like that. But like it's like the middle is hugely expanded, and the top has like detracted a bit.
I was saying in one of my chats, I don't know how much the tiers have compressed. I don't know how many people moved on it, except Custodes down and Guardsmen up. But I don't think a lot of people jumped around. I think Marines may have shuffled around which chapter's better, but I don't know. Yeah, Salamander's better than Black Templars now, but
pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Armor of Contempt, surprise rule, super good one. Hopefully that gives the Marines the buff they need for the next couple of months before the brand new codex undoubtedly comes out. A month after Chaos Space Marines. And it will be considerably better for reasons. It's got to keep it going. Games Workshop isn't actually fueled on money. It's fueled on the salt of players. So, moving on to a perennial favorite. We're going to look through our comment section, and we're going to start with this feedback here. Danny, the guy said, guys, I only watch your show for the Seinfeld memes. So the only thing I can do is to have Danny use his encyclopedic Seinfeld knowledge to help us out with this next grimdark Seinfeld meme.
Oh, I see. Okay. So
yeah, and if Dickie could move that up a little bit to read the little comment at the bottom there.
There's a comment. Sorry,
that's
you.
The crux of the crux. Okay, the crux of the joke is the Danny. Why don't you explain what this meme is here?
Well, John, this is a picture of the Soup Nazi from the Soup Nazi episode of Seinfeld, in which Jerry is denied a bowl of soup due to his complaining in line because the line is so long. Maybe it's Kramer. I don't know. I don't remember this episode very well. Despite it being one of the most famous episodes of Seinfeld.
Yeah, for sure. And that meme actually said no Seinfeld for you. So how do you feel about promoting a meme while not promoting Seinfeld, while promoting Seinfeld?
John, I didn't promote this episode of Seinfeld whatsoever. I think it's overused and kind of cliche now. I'm over it.
I do like chat correcting you that said it was Elaine and not Jerry. So you're not alone.
Sorry, Joel. My bad. I didn't do any research on this one. Normally I do. Yeah, it was. Yeah, really.
Okay, so it's going to destroy my entire opinion of this segment if I find out that you don't have this encyclopedic Seinfeld brain that just has like minutia detail of every episode, and that you just Google it real quick before we go on. Damn, that's cold. Hey, we made a subtle change last week to our set, and we received this complaint. The real controversy, where's John's fake microphone?
Amazing.
Amazing.
Was it like the one Putin used where his hand?
No, it's a real microphone, but it is not actually plugged into anything. And it's sat lovingly on this fake desk for many an episode until superstar producer and creative director Val let us know that the scaling caused issues because it looked like I had a giant microphone in front of me. As you can see, the people have spoken.
There's a meme up, John.
As you can see, the people, it's here. It's right here. What's nice is that the live audience right now is getting the same experience that the podcast listeners get of not knowing what the hell is going on, like 60 to 70% of the time.
Oh my God.
Oh, but yeah, here's a fake microphone. It's back. This is the only change I will make that is crowdsourced. On the licensing front, guys, Warhammer is teaming up with Panini, makers of one of the most satisfying parts of my childhood, the Scottish Premier Division sticker book from 1995, to produce a new sticker-based book on the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Guys, Danny, Evan, I'm going to ask you, were sticker books a thing in America here in your guys' youth, or is that kind of a uniquely non-American thing?
For girls.
I don't remember having like a lot of sticker books or theme sticker books. I remember like in birthday party handouts, like a little flip book that 2 or 3 pages of like dinosaurs or rocket ships or something.
Yeah, sure.
But, like, that's when you're like 6 years old, and like stickers are life.
Oh man. So I will say, like, I was most excited about this Panini announcement because, again, like those football sticker books, they would have like the different teams. You try and collect, like, I have like 37 Billy Dodd stickers because he was everywhere. But the idea is like you fill it up, and then like that was the hobby thing, and I think it's crazy that like it's not a thing over here. What sort of things, moving away from that, because I assumed it wasn't a huge thing over there. What kind of collectibles do you guys want to see Games Workshop move into? Sticker books, obviously something very British. Very kind of respected over there. What do you, starting with you, Evan, do you want to see as a kind of a collectible for GW to get into?
You had to start with me. I think the Joy Toy stuff they've been moving into is very popular. All the action figures kind of thing.
People love Joy Toys.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
Bring lots of pleasure.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to team up with Bandai and make some sort of like Gunpla type Space Marine.
Yeah,
that would be. I'm sure people would be all over those.
Lick my toe on Twitch
like
says
they're Joy Toys, right? They'd be all over them like they're Joy Toys. Sorry about that.
All right, so let me respond to this one by Zap Rap. So first of all, I really appreciate this Devastating Dave the Turntable Slave reference, and I'm all about it. He says they are American, so guns. And great suggestion. That was going to be my first one. Absolutely.
This is my Imperial Fist 9mm. It's got a special yellow thing with a red magazine.
It's really important that you get the double eagle over as many guns as you possibly can, so that you can show. Anyway,
the
prototype flatware, John. Flatware, like maybe some plates.
Like a decorative plate set, like for a coronation.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
John.
This is my dinner plate. This is my dinner plate celebrating the Dark Imperium release. We can see some Chaos versus some Imperium right here.
Clean your plate to get this excellent image of the Death Guard Codex to celebrate the release of that, because nothing's more appetizing after finishing your pot roast than some putrefaction on your plate.
And then telling you the War Mistress in Twitch chat, letting us know that the ultimate thing, a Tamagotchi. Could you imagine, Evan, that you wake your day to find that your Primarch Tamagotchi, like Mortarion, is just been screaming that he needs fed and cleaned again?
He needs a
I want Nurglings, man. I want a little Nurgling hanging off me.
Hell yeah.
You too can be like the Emperor and have 18 separate Tamagotchis that you can ignore. Cast across the galaxy.
And just like the Emperor, you can lose them, just like most people lost all their Tamagotchis at one point, right?
I don't like GW lost the RIP. That's a callback. I brought it back in there. But yeah, and then I think actually that's a pretty good description of the like power level discrepancy between the Emperor and the Primarchs. Because the Emperor is you, and the Primarchs are a Tamagotchi you choose to let survive until you get bored. So amazing.
Perfect. Just as long
as
9 of them
just like Engron.
Burn you down, burn down your house.
Yeah, they do, but they can try. But again, you're a person. It's just a stupid Tamagotchi. Why am I worried about you? But then you get really sad when the sanguineous Tamagotchi gets killed by someone. So hey, everyone in the Warhammer community is a business. Everyone in the Warhammer community is a business and financial genius, including the main producer of this show. And a random person shared this genius knowledge. The price increase has nothing to do with Ukraine war or inflation, but about GW coping with the massive loss from Warhammer Plus. Evan, as sort of the guest here, what's your thoughts on Warhammer Plus so far? I mean, everyone says it's a failure, but you have a bunch of people who gave $60 to get a bunch of animations they already made and a miniature that cost them like $10 to make.
Hey man, I'm $60 poor, so the real value's in the vault, man. So I could get those old white dwarfs that I'll probably never read still. So
everything
I like that. My hoarding habit now is digital. So like when my wife asks if I have to, can you throw away these old white dwarfs? No, I might read them later. Now it's all like within a tablet or something like that. Have you had a chance to check out any of the shows on there?
Yeah, no, I think some of the shows are are great. I just hope it gets better, obviously, like everyone does, and gets
Mhm.
more content. But I throw away $60 on a piece of plastic that I haven't painted for at least 10 years. I can throw away $60 to at least watch a show once a week all year.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I don't know if you guys saw the latest Hammer and Bolter that came out a few weeks ago with the Death Guard. That was amazing. Like, we're getting very atmospheric things, little snippets of the galaxy here. Fingers crossed there's some Hammer there for those Age of Sigmar players.
No.
No, not at all. And then
They-
War Polar coming in strong in the chat here saying, as a Custodes player, I disagree with the title of this stream. That's because it's awful clickbait and I'm a terrible person. Warhammer 40,000 is not fixed. But we did answer the question, making it not clickbait anymore. So is, though, Evan, Warhammer Plus like a massive loss for GW? Is it something that they shouldn't be happy about?
I don't know about that. I know GW isn't coping by raising my gas prices, so I don't know about what that guy was talking about.
Thanks, GW.
But,
I did that.
Yeah. The I'm sure it hasn't turned a profit yet. But I don't know if they're making their markers. They're probably a little behind just because the community runs off salt, and there's a lot of salt against it. When people, it's not so much Warhammer Plus. It's the anger at them telling YouTubers that they can't make their videos anymore.
Yeah. How dare they tell YouTubers, hey, we'll pay you to make some videos, or could you not do that? And I'm like, you bastards.
Yeah.
How dare you?
The
rage is real.
If only they left their IP in a train. Daddy, what do you want to see from Warhammer Plus in the future? Because right now we have the lore shows, some painting shows that's expanded past just Luis. We have more people in there now. We have Hammer and Bolter, some limited series. What do you want to see?
John, I want to see some fully interactive VR experience things going on in Warhammer Plus. Like, let me journey into an Inquisitor's torture chamber. Let me see what that's like. Let me explore a Tyranid hive ship. Let me go into one of the sex dungeons of Khemora. I want to do all of that stuff, and I want it to all be part of Warhammer Plus.
That is, yeah. I want to agree with the producer. That's one, oddly specific, too. I think it's interesting. You want to turn Warhammer Plus into, and the chat's exploding off of this, but you want to turn Warhammer Plus into a real estate showing website where just a 3D camera walks through the room and shows you around the house. And of course, yeah, Gravy Jones, of course he'd say 40K VR porn. You've got nothing else to expect. Evan, what do you want to see from Warhammer Plus? You paid your $60. You didn't get your assassin model on a big head, but what do you actually want to see?
I don't know. I mean, that Drukhari sex dungeon sounds pretty entertaining.
Somewhere in Washington, Paul Winter is sitting there, his ear has perked up.
Oh man.
Like, what?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I think if they
Oh.
a little bit.
Oh, and it looks like Evan, maybe his microphone got unplugged there. So we're going to get this back in here. While we're waiting for Evan to reset here, let's go down this rabbit hole of VR 40K porn that Danny so desperately wanted to go down. And Tyler, if you're wondering, you didn't have to bleep big titty things. There might be some bleeping coming up. Who knows?
Like,
what is quite possibly the most boring VR location you could go to in the Warhammer universe?
I don't know, like maybe Adeptus Munit or Adeptus Administratum, like scribe room. That might be
just like a
fun.
Bureaucratic office with a computer.
Yeah, it's just literally like a picture of. It's just a thing from the GW like main office, like like those real estate cameras, right?
Yeah,
like you can just go in there and like their administrative office. It's fine.
Lick my toe on Twitch saying sitting in a drop pod, just waiting, not even deploying or going planet side, just hanging out. Evan, do we have you back?
Oh no.
No, Evan's excited to go along the bottom settings of his screen to Mike and see if he can get that fixed there. That's okay. Live tech support is as much a part of this show as bad jokes is. So if you go to for our next thing here, this is of course if Warhammer Plus survives, we'll see this stuff in the future.
Yeah.
As the original commenter lets us know, as Dickie, if you could pull this up here, he has an MBA from Harvard, which is misspelled a little bit. However, Harvard is just 5 miles south of the local Walmart.
Harvard with an ER, famous for their business school, actually.
Famous, yeah.
They've managed to get into power many a Dairy Queen night manager. Boo. We're trying, guys. Evan is hilariously funny. I'm so glad we have him on the show. This has been.
We're gonna get Evan back here as soon as he's every time he's gonna keep screaming. So as soon as we hear screaming, because it's not from people listening, we'll know to go here. Guys, and Evan, I want your opinion on this. So gosh, I hope that we get this working here. Let's move on to Decorum. This is a gentleman's game for gentlemen and maybe some gentlewomen by monsters who aren't aware of true balance. Let me see here.
Oh, no.
Here's a Reddit style am I the asshole question for you.
Yes.
Someone here says, I was just in my gaming store on a non-miniatures day. I met a young man who wanted to play orcs, so I asked him if he knew how to wah. He replied by saying wah. I informed him that if he was going to play orcs, he would have to learn to wah. Notice my restraint at only 8 A's when my normal is between 15 to 21. Everyone within 40 feet, it's a big store, turned to look at me. 10 minutes later, the manager asked me to curb my enthusiasm as I startled someone across the store. I told him I was educating the youth. I kept inside the logical questions about discrimination against orcs. Evan, welcome back. Boy, where to start with that thing here? What's your thoughts on people yelling "wah" during their games with orcs?
I think the last time I yelled "wog" at an event was like 2009 Games Day in Atlanta, and like even then, like people were turning their heads to the apocalypse table when they were telling us to. So in your local FLGS, tone it down.
Maybe Danny, I think we have quite similar thoughts on the old wah. What's your thoughts on this here,
dude? Just don't. Like, come on. You're an adult. Like, try and act like an adult sometimes. It drives me crazy. I think that they represent the worst orc players imaginable. Like I hear Seth do it. I'm sorry, Meth. And every time I hear this person do a wah at like a big tournament, I'm just disappointed. He does one when we're playing Tabletop Simulator sometimes, and I just mute him. I mute him for like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, "Are you done now? Okay, cool. Like we can move on."
I think the old orc wah that's become so popular. It's kind of handy because it tells you who to avoid very early on. And I think one of my favorite memories, this is early days when I just sort of met you, Danny, during like a team tournament.
That's right, Tanya.
Is one of my favorite 40K stories. Me and the friend who got me back into 40K were playing. Danny and his friend, they were both playing orcs, and his friend's like, "Should we wah now?" And Danny looks over and he's like, "No."
I think the wah is the audio equivalent of the guy wearing the Commissar cosplay to the RTT.
Yeah,
that's the same level.
Cosplay.
Yeah, you totally don't have right-wing stuff up in your house, I'm sure.
You just have to take one logo off of his jacket and add an Imperial Eagle to it. It's fine.
I also have to say, I really appreciate how all of us have been pronouncing it with a silent GH. If I have to hear that hard G wah, like it's going to drive me up the wall.
Well, would they yell wag at you?
Yeah.
Wag.
No. Yeah. Haven't you ever heard that before?
No, that's so bad.
They say wog.
Oh, and then if I like to think if your opponent's wag is appropriate, then a Dracarius Slanesh O face is allowed.
Absolutely.
Dude, What's with all these Office Space references tonight? Now I have to watch a movie tonight. Here we go, guys. Should the guy roleplay an orc in store and get offended when he's asked to stop? Evan.
Uh, if the store owner asks you to do anything, you should be glad he hasn't just asked you to leave. Like, whatever offense you have taken, if he hadn't asked you to leave, just accept it and move on with your life.
Yeah, to be
Yep.
quite honest, if you're an orc player and the store owner hasn't asked you to leave, you should just respect that.
Yeah.
I just want orc players to know that the nerfs and changes to buggies, the changes to indirects that have happened, every other nerf that Orc Codex has received is because you won't stop yelling "Wah" at events. If you simply shut up, you would be like above Tyranids at this point. But they have to punish you. It's something that has to happen. And guys, and chat, join in this too, because I want to hear your thoughts. But guys, which army has the worst fan base in 40K?
Why are we answering the same question over and over
Because,
again?
Daddy, you don't look like you're going to have a fun answer. But Evan, who has the worst fan base in 40K?
And if I have to see one more big titty Tau, like,
Yeah, we got a
really.
big titty reference then. Naturally.
That's pretty bad. I mean, but the real answer is whoever's codex is the most recent, because just the amount of people complaining about it. It's ever shifting.
Daddy, is that, I mean, you've played this game a while here. Is that kind of a recent thing here where the codex comes out and instantly it's just salt about how broken this book is and how terrible it is? Or is that kind of a newer thing?
John, don't quote the old magic to me. I was there when it was created. Like, look, it was that way in 7th edition. It was that way in 8th edition. Like, it's going to continue to be that way in 9th edition. People just, they need to adapt. They need to adapt to the meta and be able to just, these new books, they aren't that bad, really.
Yeah, for sure. And chat's coming in strong here. Lots of loyal Grim After Dark listeners saying that the worst fan base is the 30K fan base. Very true. Very true. Even worse than the Orc-Wa. We have Ultramarines, Tau. And honestly, I think Ultramarines aren't the worst player base. I think people who don't like Ultramarines are the worst anti-player base. Unique take. And then someone said Art of War. Good job, Dan Salmons. We like that there. Coming in, rounding this out, we have the competitive 40K ITC discussion group. They have the answer to how to pay for the meta chasing you so sorely want to do. Sell onions. This unmoderated comment came through. Anyone willing to work a night shift from 6 p.m. to midnight, $35 an hour, we have transportation. Guys, what are your thoughts on $35 an hour for 6 hours at midnight from people
Oh my God.
soliciting war gamers?
Well, John, first it's possums, and now it's taking night shifts at the onion factory. So cool. I'm just glad it's doing advertisement space.
It sure has. Evan, what is the strangest way you've paid for miniatures that you're allowed to say?
Strangest way I've paid for miniatures. I don't know how many strange ways I've paid to. I stick to usually just money or trading.
Danny, anything you've done for minis that isn't cash or trade?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? I was dying at that question.
What's the strangest way you've paid for miniatures? Like, have you made any deals that were kind of like not straight miniature swaps or cash?
Sure. I would have to say
Sure,
it's doing product reviews.
Yeah, we'll take your miniature in exchange for 12 hours of our time.
I'll go move onions for them. I'll take them out.
Yeah, $35 an hour. That's not too bad.
That's one kind of.
At midnight, I'm already awake painting. I'll just go do that instead, and still be able to go to work next day.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that meme had layers, much like the onions you would be moving.
You smell like Shrek, but who cares?
I mean, that's a benefit, right? I mean, come on. Guys, before we look through some of Evan's creations now, we have to take some time out of our show to remind you the Cruise Hammer's coming. Come join Frontline Gaming August 7th through 14th for Cruise Hammer. It's going to be an epic gaming event through the Caribbean on a 7-night cruise with a fun gaming tournament and fun time with family, friends, and adventure. There's both an invitational tournament and an open event. Sign up today. And just as a reminder, while at sea, you play 40K, and while you're at port, you hang out with your family and 40K friends. I think the important thing to ask you guys here, is there a reason Frontline is trying to circumvent international law by only playing 40K in international waters? Starting with you, Evan.
So I am in the Navy, so you're not going to get me to go to sea just to play 40K.
I do that Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But they're probably getting around all those hotel restrictions on bringing your own booze, preventing people from doing it. You're now stuck with what the ship has.
Yeah, Danny, what do you see in the 2022 ITC rule set that needs to be in like international waters?
Well, I think you can solve the booze problem. Hopefully you've purchased the wristband that allows you to get free booze, right? For the entire cruise. If you haven't, that was a rookie mistake, and may God have mercy on your soul. I think basically the time clock rules are inhumane, and so that's why they have to go into international waters in order to enforce those.
Yeah. So when your opponent asks you to use a time clock on Cruise Hammer, you don't have to use one because you're not a part of any law.
That's right. Well, I mean, there's some laws, John, but yeah, mostly that's true.
Well, because of the implication. And when you call for a judge over, and the judge gives you a ruling, you can just say, "Hey, buddy, we're in international waters. We're in no jurisdiction right now. I can do what I want."
Yeah.
I want take this to Admiralty Court.
Amazing. But yeah, guys, definitely check it out. Cruise Hammer coming, one of the most unique tournament experiences of the year. And you can spend your whole time playing 40K and then still spend time with your family on one of the wonderful drops when they dock at several cool places.
Yeah. John, you know what's better than playing 40K on a boat?
Drinking on a boat while playing
being
40K.
Super hungover in a really sunny place. And that's what you have to look forward to on a cruise. So, like, I just want to tell people, get excited, though, because you're going to have a great time. You're going to have a great time. Despite your hangover, you just power on through. You start drinking again immediately, and the cruise is going to be great. You won't even be sick.
I think what's exciting to realize is that the people going will definitely not be in their like 30s to early 40s. Yeah. Absolutely will not be at a point where hangovers are crippling to them. And then everyone can just have a great time. I love it here. So, Evan, now you've created some of your favorite memes from us from Sepulture of Heroes. I'm going to have you just take us through them, and then we're going to just talk about some things from 40K that we're seeing right now. So, Tricky Dick, bring up the first one here. Evan, what are we seeing?
So this I did this one when Warhammer Adventures came out. It was a part of a series, but placing the kids in the adventures they'd be having throughout the Warhammer Adventures universe. As you can see, they're there fighting alongside Imperial Fists and Ultramarines, saving. It
would be the worst. Like Imperial Fist would be. Yeah, the worst chapter to go upside with Imperial Fist is they'll be killed to a man defending those children.
The funny thing there is the Jokero is actually probably the most competent thing in the picture, to be honest.
It's true. You think those kids are safe?
Safe as they're going to be.
Safe enough.
Devin, what's your opinion on the Warhammer Adventures novel series?
So I've actually... I do have small kids, and I have read them with my kids.
Were you horrified when the Necron liquidated someone in the pages?
You sold them for cheap?
I think the disappointment is my son likes the Age of Sigmar ones far more. That's I don't know how to get him off that, but someone did hand me a free Dominion box at Adepticon. Like, no joke, walking through the hallways, they said, "Do you want this?" And I said, "Yes." And so I got that to look forward with him. But Warhammer Adventures is they're fun for kids, and it's better than some of the other stuff that is targeted as age group.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Danny, what was your opinion like when Warhammer Adventures was announced as kind of being targeted at the kind of tween, like 9 to 12-year-old audience?
Well, John, it's perfect because there really wasn't an appropriate way to introduce this extremely addictive hobby to kids at a very young age and indoctrinate them into purchasing these super expensive models. So I'm really glad to see that we can start them young or start them early, start them for a long time.
I'm sure the cigarette companies are really jealous.
They're taking notes on what GW is
genius.
doing. Like, I know because I have kids too, and I picked up the books for them. And I was like reading the memes in the comments about how they're going to ruin Warhammer and how it's just going to be like, oh, they slapped each other and things like that. And then like a third of the way into reading the first book, like literally someone gets liquefied by a Necron gauze rifle.
Awesome.
And you're like,
It's awesome.
oh, okay. It's pretty cool. It's kind of how it is. Guys, is this the... Sorry, go.
As the only thing that annoys me is how cavalier they are with warp travel, and there's no navigators. Like, that angers me as I read the books personally.
Where's the blind slave with his third eye?
Where's mutants?
Guys, how does GW restock the gamers? Like, I made a joke earlier that like a lot of the player base is like 30s and 40s. It's an aging demographic, has been for some time. Are young adventure novels like this the best way to restock the kind of player base, or is there something else? Starting with you, Danny, because I keep going to Evan for the hard ones first.
Yeah, okay, cool. I think that this is a great supplementary method to doing this. I think that you have to attack by multiple vectors if you want to try and entice these to get this young blood into the hobby, because let's be honest, like the tactile, like physical games are probably not pushed on them quite as much as like video games and other forms of media. So, dude, I'm excited about this. Like, I think like this and some animated, like kind of like Clone Wars stuff would be really great. Yeah, I'd like to see an attack from all fronts.
Mm-hmm. Evan, you have kids. Like, how do you share the hobby? Like, what do you think would be great ways for you to introduce them and kind of bring them up into this awful thing that we do?
It'd be cool, going back to what we're saying about Warhammer Plus, if they had a Warhammer Adventures show or series for them that I could share with them, because they're always wanting to watch things on YouTube and stuff like that, and there's really no accessible digital media for them. And if we really wanted them to grab digital media, if that's what they're into, then there should be a way to reach out to them. They've painted some models. They get to do that, and it could be any models, things like that. And they like playing around with terrain and stuff when I have that out. So just let them. I also they don't use them so much anymore, but on the back of my Titanicus things, they had full scale. So I cut them out and glued them to a popsicle stick, and they did them like shadow puppets with Titanicus, and it was awesome.
That's super cool.
Yeah. To see now, if GW watches the show, if in 7 months White Dwarf comes with cutout Titans and popsicle sticks as a part of their free things here. Okay, and then as Joel Aikens letting us know, they got a TikTok to get the youths. Got a TikTok.
It's true.
It's true. And I refuse. I'm too old. Anyway, Evan, our next one here. I love this one personally. Go ahead and tell us about this one.
I think I saw it in a different context. Just something your music saved me, and it was like something wholesome. And I was like, obviously, it's a noise marine. Like, it just
clearly.
Sometimes I just see another format, and I go, how can I adapt that? And that's what.
How can I ruin this with Warhammer?
How can I ruin this with Warhammer? Exactly. And if you don't find a drugged out 80s glam band rock 8-foot super warrior awesome, then I don't know what will save you, to be honest.
You're a loser.
Yeah, you're beyond saving.
You probably yell WOG.
Guys, this is for you and for the chat. What is the best music to game to? Like, if you were having a game of 40K, what is the best music to listen to during that? Starting with you, Danny.
Ooh, man, this is a great question, John. I really have to think about this. I would say for me, I'm gonna like some kind of 80s synthwave music. That's really gonna get me going. It's gonna really put me in the mindset that Games Workshop was when they created the 40K setting in the first place. So you know what else I really like is some good old Enya when I'm playing 40K. If I can listen to some Orinoco, like
something else.
Yeah, give me that all day long. And Chumbawamba.
Danny, I don't want to say this is a joke based on an experience I had playing Taylor from the show, where we were screaming like the way we have fun during a 40K. We scream at each other. It's pretty fun. We just insult each other, and the TO would come over to be like, "Hey guys, you got to calm down a little bit. You're being a little too loud." Very similarly to the Orc Wa, except we were calling each other massive assholes and fools and clowns. So in order to calm us down, I pulled out my iPhone, pulled up Spotify, and I put an Enya song on repeat and put my phone on the center of the table. And when the TO came back over, I was like, "It's cool, man. We're listening to Enya now."
Did that work?
He asked us to turn Enya down, but it sort of worked. Yeah.
No one has ever said that, ever. No one has ever said that. So congratulations.
You're listening to Enya too loud. Evan, what's your favorite music to game to?
You can never go wrong with a classic like a movie score track in the background, like every hobby shop does, like Lord of the Rings or just anything Hans Zimmer. But I mean, that 80s stuff, put Pandora on Tears for Fears radio and you'll just get 80s for days.
Dude, that's awesome. Here we go. Let's go to our next one here. Chad, you can get in on this too. Take us through this one here. This is a longer one here. Good old-fashioned meme. Why don't you read the text to us and kind of tell us what you were thinking with this one?
So I did this one when the ITC came out with their new code of conduct. I gotta zoom in here to see it on the screen a little better.
Yeah, we have here. We have dice infraction, yellow card. Late list submission, yellow card. Disagree with the judge, yellow card. Call for a judge to come to your table. Believe it or not, yellow card.
Yeah, it's just there was so many yellow card things, and just everybody was coming up with their own infractions. I think it's great that they actually came out with it, but just had to run with it. Like I said, community runs off salt, right? So
yeah,
whatever comes out, you got to be salty about it.
So Evan, starting with you, what is something that should be an instant yellow card at the table that isn't right now?
If you're not wearing deodorant, like that's close to red card, man. But if you did not have the decency to bathe, go fix that. Paper towels in the bathroom, clean under there, put on some deodorant, and come back. And you're on the clock while we do it.
It's on your clock, buddy. Go shower. Danny, what is, aside from the awesome deodorant comment, what is something that should be a yellow card in the game?
Yeah, not wearing shoes at the table.
Oh, dude.
And I'd like to... Dick in the background is like real mad at me right now. But...
I think my favorite memory, one of my favorite memories from doing Grim After Dark here for the past 9-10 months, is when we shat on what we thought was Mark Perry for not wearing shoes in the bed.
I know.
He often does, and we get this little message being like, "Yeah, that was Dickie," and I'm like, "Oh, you monster!"
And this, by the way, I'd like to say to Evan, this meme is golden. I don't care what Salty John has said in the chat, that you have trash memes. This meme is great. I really appreciate it. It's from the classic Parks and Rec episode where dignitaries are visiting from Venezuela and want to make sure that Leslie Knope will say that Hugo Chavez is a great man.
Do I have to move away from Seinfeld memes into Parks and Rec? Asking for a friend.
Maybe.
Guys, what's your take on the current judging system? Evan, you mentioned like a while ago they introduced a code of conduct and kind of things. How is the current judging system in competitive 40K for you?
Seeing as I'm a mid to bottom table scrub, I don't usually interact with the judges that much.
And as a fellow mid to bottom table scrub, they get real mad when you ask them to interact because they're like, buddy, your game means literally nothing. Just roll it off and have fun.
I feel like whenever I do have to get a judge to interact, I'm probably already having a pretty bad game with a pretty bad opponent because that's usually how I solve things. So if I have to ask for them, it's something's not fun.
Yeah. Danny, as a non-mid table scrub, what's your thought?
Whoa, let's not get
Excuse
crazy.
you. You were best general 2022 Tau tipping. We covered this in the intro. That is not scrub level. Best general
Yeah,
is not.
I got best general at a like 32 person grand tournament. I am just a stellar player, John, with Tau.
Yeah, I
pre-nerf.
With pre-nerf Tau at a tournament, you did really well at shooting at things. But how do you feel like the current system is? Do you think it does enough? Do you think it doesn't go far enough?
Well, John, as an opponent of a gentleman who received the yellow card in my first game at LVO from Salty John, no less, I can tell you that it doesn't go far enough. We need to get these cheaters. We need to kick them in the butt. We need to get them out of the game. It's really important that everybody is playing by the rules. And yeah, I don't want any mercy. I don't want a redemption arc. Maybe later on, but definitely not at the moment and not at the table.
And Champ Popo, Tau tipping as the premier GT event for early April in the Pacific Northwest.
It's true.
Which is a 32-person GT that Daddy won at Best General at a few weeks ago there. And again, guys, mobilize. Let them know your opinion. Danny should have blanket powers to issue yellow cards to ensure he has a fun time throughout.
Yeah,
his
guys,
event.
look, I'm a fun person, and honestly, like I'm always right about the rules. So it's really important that I'm able to yellow card my opponents with impunity. And I'm just going to make the game a better place, guys. I'll police it myself. I'll do it. Just hand me a stack of yellow cards, and I'll make it rain on these cheaters, guys. I'll do it.
Sure. And Salty John in chat, just realize how much time that saves you at some events where you really don't want to interact with Danny.
It's true.
Okay, let's move on to our next theme here. Well, what are we seeing here, Evan?
This was so 9th edition was heading off the rails.
Just to give you some hint here is for the podcast listener, if you couldn't see this meme, what are we looking at here?
So what we're looking at here is the what's the show? I draw
Pawn Stars.
Yeah, Pawn Stars. That's it. So it's the best I can do for you meme. And so at the top it says, players, can you release all the factions for 9th edition? And then GW, best I can do for you is accelerated rules bloat. And then it's a screenshot from the Warhammer community of them announcing seasons. So yeah, we things were going off the rails, so we decided to just make it go off the rails even faster, semi-annually, quarterly, who knows.
Yeah. Evan, what's your thoughts on Warhammer Seasons? When it came out, it seems to be kind of a thing like, hey, we're listening to you, we're doing this. What's your take on Warhammer Seasons?
I think I would rather them just focus on writing their codices well and balancing them. I think if you're there, because they have a rolling release for those, and now you're trying to come out with like changing the game on top of that, and they're having trouble just maintaining a basis right now. Let's get in a stable place before we start regular campaign books.
Do you think, and this is sort of like a bizarre thing to say, especially kind of like how the player base has been so vocal in the past, that they're updating the game too much now?
In some ways, like I think the campaign books or some of these extra things, I don't mind the yearly GT pack. I don't think the codices coming out at the rate they've been coming out. The problem is when you're releasing Vigilis and all these other Warzone, Caradon, and things on top of it, and armies of renown, when like you didn't even see what AdMech can do, and all of a sudden you make them better. Like, or you have Crusher Stampede coming out though before you even have the Codex come out, and so but there was to me it was kind of a revealing thing. I was talking with a rep at LVO. He said the design studio doesn't think in editions. I don't know what really to read in that, but maybe they
Bet
should.
when that rep said that, they thought
Yeah.
that was like a super deep statement. Like, hey man, we don't think in additions.
I'm
We
like,
think in this, but you're like, oh no, that's really concerning.
yeah, like your customer base does, and they play that way. Maybe you should consider it when you write rules.
Yeah,
Well,
Danny, what's your
But
take on the
Evan,
season?
they're clearly playing the game wrong, right? I mean, it's their game, not our game.
Read a
just
white
allow
book
it
that
to
rep,
play it.
and you know how they're playing the game.
Danny,
Yeah, that's fair.
there's a lot of talk, Danny, about rules bloat being kind of a big thing right now. I don't think we're quite in the dying days of 7th when it was at its worst, in my opinion. But how do you solve rules bloat? Because we have these books coming out, we have things that need to happen to them, we have people wanting new, fresh things. We have the company obviously wanting to sell more items to make more money. But how do you solve the bloat that comes along with that?
Well, I mean, I think you have to try and keep the game fresh, and that's important. It's hard to do without releasing some kind of supplement or like changes to the missions. So, I think probably when they say season, I hope that means a year and not 6 months. But we'll see. And like ideally, you're not making people carry around a bunch of extra books. So I think maybe like instead of campaign books, maybe a better move is to do like one season book with if you wanted to add some additional rules for that season for an army. Like
Mhm.
I think that might be reasonable to add it to that book. Or release them online so that people aren't having to cart around a bunch of extra information all the time and they can have that digitally. Also, just releasing the rules in a digital format, I think would go a long way in increasing their ability to keep up with changes in the rules. And also players wouldn't have to lug around like a million books. I think that's important too.
Yeah. Digital books when? And chat's letting us know they need their IP taken away. Too late. I have it right here.
Got him.
Got him. I got your IP. Let's move on to our next one here. This is one of my personal favorites. 6-0, we're same here.
So this one is Book of Boba Fett came out, so try to keep it relevant.
Terrible
to
show.
not just what's going on in
How
the meta.
anti 40K.
Yeah, so here you have the scene where you have the sheriff and his deputy, and then Cad Bane shows up. And so the sheriff is a casual player, and his deputy is the meta. Cad Bane shows up as the Tau. So I did this when Tau came out, and he blows away the meta. And then it says, the sheriff got shot too. It says he might survive, but only because the Tau player allowed it. So maybe casual players can play Tau casually if someone's bringing, not a full-on Monka list. If your Tau player has Vespids in his army, you might have a fun game.
Whoa.
Danny, you seem to disagree.
No, man. Every time I play against Meth, he's always bringing all these Vespids, so that's not true. I never have a fun game against that guy.
How is the game for the casual player just now? Because we talk a lot about kind of like the top tables and the balancing, and like the top of LVO being a lot of Custodes and kind of the tournaments being like all Harlequins. For your casual player, how is 40K right now?
So I think they just did those Tempest of War cards, which I've only heard people raving about.
They're super cool.
They're having a lot of fun. I haven't got a chance to check them out yet, but I imagine they're a lot like the Titanicus cards if anyone plays that. So
I will say, hey, thanks for that wonderful preview copy, allowing us to advertise at GW. We really enjoyed the Tempest of War card. but they have kind of the good features of the open war deck of the last edition and kind of mission setup, but without the random annoyingness where you would pull an open war card and like, oh, you get points for killing psychers, and you're like, well, I'm Black Templar, or like you have random points for casting a psychic power, and you're like, well, I'm Black Templar, so you know.
Right.
I played I did the LVO narrative, actually. I went there and it was fun. But people really have to understand when they're playing in a casual environment, because we did have a game where someone brought like a carbon copy GT, the LVO second place custodes list in the LVO narrative, and that was terrible. And you're already playing a mission not designed to be competitive on top of that, and like just not fun.
Well, here's a great question brought up by chat for both of here, starting with Danny. Tanya, the War Mistress, says, I'm not sure you can play casually. Is 40K a game you can play casually right now?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like that as a statement. I guess maybe like I need further clarification to argue against that. But like, I mean, I think you can play 40K super casually if you want to, but you have to have a mutual understanding of what the goals of the game are between the two opponents. So I think that's important to talk about either before you show up to the table, or at the table before you start playing, and you have like a miniature collection with you so you can play games like that. I think situations like Crusade and things like that, especially if the understanding, if there's a good understanding between the players of like what kind of event or what kind of campaign you want to have, I think that allows you to have a casual game of 40K.
Mm-hmm. I will say this is like was the Independent Characters was a podcast that got me like really back into 40K, but one of my least favorite parts of it was the bit every episode when they said that you had to have a conversation with your opponent and kind of thing. It's an awful thing to say, but it's true. You have to set those expectations down, and poor job on that guy at the narrative, Evan, who came with like, and I apologize, Tyler, but a dick stomping list to a fun event. It's kind of knowing the expectation.
Say dick.
I know, but if I say it that way, his ears are going to perk up. It's funnier. Evan, how important is the casual player to Warhammer 40,000?
I think he's very important. I think every day more games of 40K and fantasy and Age of Sigmar and all that are played in people's garages and basements and random game stores than happen in the weekend at every RTT combined. Like every day it's that, and most of your people are buying miniatures and get out, funding them to just go play once every month, every other month against their friend. Like that's most of 40K. In my experience and meeting people and just seeing it, we're all super passionate into it, and we see the meta and we follow it. But your average person playing it, that guy who shows up at his first tournament ever, he's only played Garage Hammer before that, and he's probably at least played for 6 months at that point to go to a tournament. So it's important.
Yeah, here's an interesting take from chat here. The idea that players to have a competitive license that must be renewed every codex. Maybe that's a bit too often. But take a digital test to keep the card can compete without knowledge of all armies. No comp license equals filthy casual. Oh, I see this now. It's sarcastic. I love it.
Perfect.
Do you think there should be some kind of split, though? Because we are starting to see sort of the Art of War guys, like podium every tournament. We're seeing kind of the same names kind of growing to the top. Should there be like a pro circuit and an amateur circuit for 40K?
We saw those pro tabletop guys start that a while back. I don't know if there should be a pro circuit because as great as the game is, I love it, and as fun as it is competitively, it's not an inherently balanced game. Like, it doesn't make sense in the same sense a pro poker circuit makes. But I don't have a problem with these guys that play it constantly, going to the podium every time, because that's what they do. Anyone can practice and play it a lot. It's just how much are you willing to put into it.
Danny, what's your thoughts on that?
On a pro circuit?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like we're still kind of figuring out what the demand is to this game post COVID. So I'm kind of leery of starting anything new right now. Maybe when we see, maybe when there's actually multiple 1,000-person tournaments, I think that maybe we can start talking about having a pro circuit. I just don't think there's enough people for it yet.
Yeah, fair. Guys, let's move on to the next one here. This was, and I keep saying this for all of them because I love them, but this one spoke to me completely. This next meme that you sent me, the Forge World directions. Evan, take us through it.
So it says Forge World directions. It's for older kits. You have to have gotten an older kit, and I probably could have selected a much better complex kit. But I did this one in a moment of rage when I bought 6 of these things. So it says Forge World directions. Step 1, parts. It's the front of the sheet that they used to send you. And step 2, fucking Rhino. Because that's what their directions used to be. It was the parts, the resin parts, and then it was the complete model from several angles. What made this one more frustrating is it had been 7 years since I built a Rhino, and there's a plastic and combined resin part, and trying to okay, so when should I put I figured it out. I've been doing this long enough, but I think I had to rip one apart that I started gluing because I put the resin in place before the plastic or something, and I'm like, oh God, please don't please don't break this thing I spent way too much money on.
I think this spoke to me particularly because I assembled the Forge World War Boss and Warbike, where the instructions for that model are literally just a picture of the finished model with, here it is, figure it out. And when I finished building it, there were 4 parts left over, and I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Dude,
Danny, what's the worst model kit you've ever assembled? Any game system?
All right, so I have to say, I think it's a catapult. I can tell you that right now. And whether it's the Screaming Skull catapult from the Tomb King's range or the Bretonnian Trebuchet, both of those models require you to have 3 hands because you had to simultaneously hold 2 disparate pieces together with multiple other spars in between those pieces and have the glue set and have it be straight. Awful. Just awful.
Is that when you go to your wife? And when you go to your wife, hey baby, come here. Oh, you want to spend time with me? Yeah, if you want to hold here and
let me glue your fingers to this model.
Evan, what is the worst kit you've ever put together?
I think the one I still remember, and I don't even know if it's the worst, but I remember having the most frustration in a kit. This was back in 4th edition. My brother got into it. He was my younger brother, and he picked Tyranids, and I had to help him and build his Metal Hive Tyrant.
Ooh.
And that I was enraged at that. And that was also when I was new, so I didn't know about pinning as well and things like that. So just trying to get the super glue to hold this thing together, it was not a fun experience. I'm honestly surprised I'm still in the hobby after doing that.
Let 15-year-old John guide you around the model. Egram Van Horstman, Chaos Lord for Warhammer Fantasy Battle, who was a 3-piece dragon body with 2 heads with the jaws separate. All metal, apart from the plastic wings, of course, because of course the wings are plastic, the body is fine.
Yeah, why not?
You need to have an advanced degree in metal welding to put that model together in a way that it won't fall apart when you look at it funny. It was awful.
John, we had a local guy to us who used to solder metal models for a fee, and he was good enough at soldering to do that.
That's smart.
He soldered the models. That's crazy. Yeah. Look how much reach across. Hey, let's go to the next one here before Danny and I fall into arguing about how I pronounce words again. What are we looking at here?
This was just a recent one. This is one of those. I see the format someplace, and I go, how can I change that for Warhammer? So it's a comic. There's this guy going, "Welcome to heaven. Here's our Warhammer 40,000 collection." The one dude's really excited. He goes over. He's like, "Wait, they're all Primaris lieutenants." And the guy welcoming him, it turns out, taking off a mask, says, "Haha, psych." So that really the motivation for that was just there's a million lieutenants. That's the joke. Everybody gets it. I think they're really pushing lieutenants because they're turning off a lot of reroll to hit buffs, but not so many reroll to wound buffs. Right? They really want you to buy those lieutenants. Is really what it is. That's my tinfoil hat.
Yeah, Primaris Lieutenants. They're one of GW. They were one of GW's first kind of recurring memes they did when Warhammer Community launched. Evan, what are some of your recurring GW bits that they put out there?
I liked when they did. I don't know if it's recurring, but it was a Sigmar one, unfortunately. But when he was like, not another chamber, and he's like, "To hell I can't." That was a that comic.
Really good.
that was a really good one. For recurring bits, I don't know how often they do recurring.
Yeah,
bits.
that's totally fair. And then Danny, to make it easier on you, what is your favorite bit from Warhammer Community over the last couple of years?
My favorite recurring bit from Warhammer Community is James Workshop. The guy does just a fantastic impression of the boss character from the IT crowd, and I'm really proud that they've kept up that for quite some time. It's just amazing.
Hopefully, he doesn't get Duncaned when his contract comes up from renewal.
I hope so.
Let's move on to our next one here. This is a great classic.
So this is it's the Pepperidge Farm Remembers meme, and so this was coming out when a recent release here where another thing had a 5+ invulnerable, and just so many things have invulnerable saves now. So it's a Terminator on him. Remember when a 5+ invulnerable save was special? Terminator Farms remembers. I remember. You guys remember when power armor used to mean you weren't open topped in vehicles? Like power armor was special, and and it isn't anymore, right? Like you pull Space Marines, you pull Terminators like crazy now.
Well, I will say with last week's balanced data slate coming out, are we back in a time where power armor, where Terminators are special again? With some armies, Terminators are now the best units in their books.
I think it was a great thing. I think it's awesome that it does make power armor feel like something special again. It's not like other, like Craft Worlds didn't get it for units with their 3+ save. It's power armor is a little bit more. It's adding some of that granularity that you can't get. So like I was talking one thing, with the way the stats have gone, you can go above 10 and all these things, but the problem is a save is stuck on a 2 to 6. It's stuck there, and I think this is a nice way to add in a little bit of granularity, and it does make them feel a little bit special. Hilariously, they completely forgot Fallen as Starties, though. They don't. They don't
did.
Yes.
Maybe they shouldn't have fallen. It would be so simple. Danny, what was your take on, like, real quick, on Armor of Contempt as kind of a role in there?
It's hot, man. It's hot. I played a game with 35 Deathwing Terminators the other day, and I took like 1,500 points of Tau shooting to the face, and I lost 5.
Nice.
So that feels pretty good. I don't know.
Nice. And the War Mistress let us know it's so special. Power Armor and Chaos Cultist Rags. Which hilariously right now still get the Rags of Contempt rule, I should guess. And then, well, almost writing us out here, Evan, this next one you sent me on a separate folder away from the standard memes.
Special Reserve, John.
Special Reserve, Sepulture of Heroes meme. We have this one here. You seem super proud of your Krieg memes. This is a picture of Krieg horsemen riding ponies, hashtag just Krieg things. Where does this love of Krieg come from?
They're just a cool faction. I really like them as guard. I'm sure there's a lot of people do, and they are memeable. There's actually there's like, I did like 12 of those just all together, making fun of the just girl things and just applied it Krieg. So there were so many situations, and there's so much great fan art and official art of Krieg. They're just cool. I'm fascinated in history by World War One. On top of that, like everybody's into World War II and Civil War, but like to me, World War One's like the most fascinating in terms of like recent history without getting to ancient. And they evoke that. They're really cool, and they're highly memeable, and people react to it because everybody else likes it.
Yeah, for sure. And then guys, make it happen. Hashtag Hot Creek Summer. It's going to happen here. You're debating a new meme here on the show before we round it out here. Why don't you take us through this newest creation of yours? Exclusive.
No,
not that one.
The next
that's my. There we go. That was my cool. That was my cool ending pick. Spoilers.
So I made this, sent it to you guys. I haven't put it up on the show, but it was a talking and conversation with a friend earlier, and so Doug's the only other guy that's seen it. But so we were talking and making jokes. What can men do against such reckless mathematics? And then this came out of it because there's the new ability giving transhuman to knights, and we said, one day when the courage of men may fail, but it's not this day, and then it's the new guard rule, all these auto wounds. So it goes back to that one of them killing a Titan earlier.
Yeah.
Like statistically, a squad of guardsmen is more likely to do a wound to a knight. I'm not saying kill the knight, but do a wound than a shadow sword will with its volcano cannon. Like, because you're going to get the dice, you're going to get the sixes. I will miss with the volcano cannon, or I will roll I'll roll a 3 to wound on a strength 16 gun, and I won't do anything.
Yeah, I'm real excited for Knights to come out. Not so excited anymore after Guard. And then, just to finish off here, sometimes comedy content and meme creators such as yourself get the sort of feedback we see here in your last meme that was previewed earlier by Superstar Producer. Here it says it's the classic 2 reality show girls screaming at a cat, where people say people commenting Sepulture of Heroes is just posting memes to be salty, and you having a shocked reaction face. Do you think you're salty towards the Warhammer game?
Oh, I can get salty. Like I said, I'm in the Navy, so I could get particularly salty about a lot of things very easily, very fast. But for Warhammer, to me, it's all good fun. I've been doing Sepulcher for over a decade as a blog, and for I think I did the math like 2 or 3 months ago. I've averaged about a meme every 3 days since I started just doing memes on the Facebook.
Man, that's like the Pacific meme, the specific rim meme, where they're like, first it was 1 meme a week, and then it was 1 meme every 5 days.
Yeah. So you give the people, because that's what people are going to engage with too. Like, you got to know your audience.
Yeah.
So I give them what they want.
Yeah, for sure. Danny,
are you not entertained?
Danny, is salt healthy for the hobby? Like, is a little bit of salt healthy for your view of the hobby as a whole?
Well, John, just like in the natural world, 40K players like to congregate at salt licks, and that gives them vital nutrients that they need in order to deal with the problems of their life.
I don't know why every time you start a statement, and it's happened more recently with, well, John, it instantly breaks me and make me lose my place entirely here. It's going to be for both you guys here, starting with Danny. What does the future of Warhammer look like to you?
Oh, grim.
I should have ended with you because that was a really good closing bit. Evan, what's the future of Warhammer?
Do I have to say dark?
Yeah, contractually, yes.
Well, now you do. Jeez.
We say grim dark, but I hope we're seeing more engagement. Everybody remembers the Tom Gerby days where there was like zero actual engagement
Right.
from Games Workshop. So uh, as long as they stay roughly on that path, I think it'll be good. And they're making kick-ass models now.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, yeah, things are just getting better and better. Like realistically, like the models are better. I think the rules are more flavorful than they've ever been in like ever in the history of this game, which is rad. Even though there's a lot of them, I think that like the armies feel like the armies they're supposed to be for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan, thank you so much for your time. Go ahead and let everyone know where to find you if they like more of this.
So if you like the memes, follow us on Sepulchre Heroes on Facebook.
If you don't like the memes, follow him on Sepulchre Heroes on Facebook.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I do share them a lot, and I intentionally don't watermark them so that people don't feel bad about stealing them and everything. I like seeing ones I created from 10 years ago pop up, or not 10, but you know, it's great to see them out there in the wild. And I feel watermarks can ruin that. But we're on Facebook. I do have a blog spot that I've been terrible through COVID about blogging on regularly. It's just a lot of effort. But we are there. You can find the podcast, which is probably just more of a lot like this show. It's just four guys goofing around.
I'm so sorry.
You can find that on all the major surfaces. It's called Allies of Inconvenience, and we put it up there. It's and then you can follow my hobby content, Sepulchre Heroes, on Instagram. I feel like I'm a decent painter, so I appreciate a follow there. I mean, I trying not to brag, but I did get a finalist pin at Golden Demon. So
Nice.
Man.
I like to think I can at least, I'm not a winner, but I entered something and it got a pin. So I'm at least decent.
I'm excited for the commission part of the fee for appearing in the show to show up on my doorstep. Evan, thank you so much. Guys, next week, Danny and I will be back. We'll be joined by one of Frontline Gaming's own blog writers. And Evan, thank you so much for looking back at the last week in the Warhammer community. My name is John. That's been Danny, and it's been pretty grim after dark.